Hi, this is Carl with another SOP video for managed service providers. Today I want to talk about what's your process for removing client users from their system. So let's say that you get an email from somebody saying, hey, Bob's not with us anymore, nuke that account. This is a potential landmine for you, and so you have to go very gingerly. First of all, it is absolutely essential that you verify that this is a legitimate request. So you need to make sure there's a ticket in the system. It's okay to go in and change the user. I'm going to just call the user Bob because that's what I started with. You're going to change Bob's password, but you're not going to do anything else to that account until you create a ticket and you verify with your primary contact that this is what they want to do. I highly recommend that you have a form they fill out that says, please remove this user from the system, and here's what I want you to do with the data. Now, in some systems, the most important piece you got to deal with is email. So, assuming it's legit and you are going to get rid of Bob's email, do not have somebody go in, nuke their Exchange account, and be done with it. That's the worst thing you can do. You don't know what's in their email. You don't know what needs to be saved. The client normally doesn't know or understand the implications of nuking that account. So, what I recommend is that you have a process, and you got to come up with your own checklist. But what you want to do is log in as that user. Export everything to a PST. Make sure that you've captured that data. Save it into PST, I recommend, with no encryption and no password, because you're going to store it in a secure site so nobody can get to it unless they're on the domain anyway. And that way you don't have to worry about what that user's credentials were and so forth. You might feel safe nuking the deleted items before you do that, but that's totally up to you. If you feel like you need to spit out the inbox and deleted items separately so they fit into a PST, whatever you need to do along those lines, you should do. Also make sure, if you've got a backup through some process to back up that Exchange folder, it's completely backed up before you remove that user. And don't run, if you run Exchange directly, don't run a cleanup routine until you've made sure that there's a good backup of all of that stuff. So that takes care of the email. Mostly, you've got to find out. Part of your request to delete the user is what happens to their email address. Let's say that Bob's a salesperson, or that it just, for whatever reason, that email is very, very important to the company. Well, those SMTP credentials should now be pointed somewhere else. So perhaps it's to your primary contact or a different salesperson or whatever. What you want to do is go into another mailbox and add an alias that is Bob's former email address. That way people on the outside don't get a bounce, but somebody else is going to respond. They'll send an email to Bob, but Carl's going to email back and say, hey, I saw this email to Bob. I'm now taking care of that account. Let me deal with it, right? So that way you don't interrupt the flow. This is the kind of thing you have to think about, because the client might be angry with Bob and they might want to just get rid of him as quickly as possible. You have to look after the client's best interest. Okay, so what about all the stuff that's not in Exchange? Some companies use this foolish thing that Microsoft created where they allow everybody to have their own personal folder section, and they keep all this data there that nobody else can access. Ugh. I wish this had never been invented. My documents are never my documents in a company. They're the company's documents. So this is an opportunity to go in there again, log in with the new password you've created for this user, and figure out which of that data needs to be saved somewhere else. Maybe you'll back up the whole thing in a zip file, again, stored in a secure location. Maybe you'll go ahead and delete some of it, or maybe you're going to delete all of it, but you're going to make conscious decisions, and if you feel like you need to engage somebody in the company to help you with that, you should do so. I hope that what you get out of this is that this is not an 8-minute project, and it's certainly not free. No matter what your managed service contract says, you need to charge for adds, moves, and changes, and this is a perfect example. You have to take responsibility of looking after the client's best interest. And very often that means getting rid of a user is a complicated process, and it's going to take some time. So make sure that you give the client an estimate of, say, an hour's worth of labor. You can speed that up if you've got a checklist that you use consistently over time. Ask the client, what will happen to the email? What will happen to the data? Who do I deal with on this to make these decisions? What will it look like when it's done? And make sure, once again, that you've got a complete backup for the day before you go ahead and nuke that stuff forever. Whatever you come up with, document it and use it consistently, as always. For Small Biz Thoughts, this is Carl Palchuk, wishing you the best of luck in your managed service business.
Please like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell so you can be notified when we post a new video.